President Tinubu reconstitutes NNPC board, names new chairman and CEO. PDP Youth Alliance demands action against erring lawmakers. Tertiary institutions bills in focus. Over 200 bills pending at the National Assembly. Hello and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Ene Ojonugba. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a sweeping reconstitution of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited Board, removing the chairman, Chief Pius Akinyerule, and the Group Chief Executive Officer, Malam Mele Kolo Kyari. President Tinubu removed all other board members appointed with Akinyerule and Kyari in November 2023. The new 11-man board has Engineer Bashir Bayo Ojulari as the group CEO and Amadu Musa Kida as non-executive chairman. Adedapo Shegun, who replaced Umaru Isa Ajia as the chief financial officer last November, has been appointed to the new board by President Tinubu. 6 board directors represent the country's geopolitical zones. They are Bello Rabiu, Northwest, Yusuf Usman, Northeast, and Babs Umotawa, a former managing director of the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, LNNG, who represents North Central. President Tinubu appointed Austin Avuru as a non-executive director from the South-South, David Ige as a non-executive director from the Southwest, and Henry Obi as a non-executive director from the Southeast. Mrs. Lydia Shehu Jafia, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Finance, will represent the Ministry of the new board, while Aminu Saeed Ahmed will represent the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. All the appointments are effective today, April 2nd. President Tinubu, invoking the powers granted under Section 59, Subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, emphasized that the board's reconstructuring is crucial for enhancing operational efficiency, restoring investor confidence, boosting local contents, driving economic growth, and advancing gas commercialization and diversification. Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged Nigerians to embrace unity, peaceful coexistence, and tolerance as key pillars for national progress, drawing from the lessons of Ramadan. He made the call in Maiduguri during a luncheon with Borno State elders and his schoolmates in celebration of Eid al-Fitr. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Members of the highly revered Borno Elders Forum here to celebrate with Vice President Kashim Shettima for the successful end of Ramadan fast and also appreciate his role in advancing Nigeria's transformation under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. Vice President Kashim Shettima called on them to support the administration's ongoing economic reforms, assuring that the short-term difficulties will yield long-term benefits for the country. The Vice President, who spoke through the member representing Maiduguri Metropolitan Constituency at the House of Representatives, Abdul Qadir Rahis, said there was a need for continued harmony among citizens.
I wish also to say that we should all, at all times, maintain and build on this sense of unity, community, for collective gain and progress as a people. May Almighty Allah protect the Vice President, our boss, our mentor, the good people of Borno State and Nigeria in general.
Vice President Shettima said President Tinubu remains committed to implementing policies that will create sustainable development, urging Nigerians to continue embodying the spiritual lessons gained during Ramadan as a pathway to national development. He enjoined the citizens of Borno State and Nigerians in general to always maintain threads of humility, communal living, and values, which he described as foundation for national progress. Chairman of the Borno State Elders Forum, Gambo Gubuyo, expressed appreciation for the Vice President's hospitality and assured him of continued prayers for success in his duties.
I want Nigerians to emulate him, Nigerians to give him the maximum cooperation as he deputizes his boss, His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, while urging all to put all hands on deck to pray for the lasting peaceful coexistence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Extreme gentleman, of high, immense character. And we are all proud of him, and everybody is proud of him. To see, like I said, the faces of the people that have attended this wonderful event.
Other stakeholders urged Nigerians to rally round President Tinubu, stressing the need for continued prayers and support towards the implementation of the administration's policies for the improvement of the economy and overall development of Nigeria. From Maiduguri, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has restated the commitment of the legislature to robust engagement with the executive to shape and implement policies tailored to meet the aspirations of citizens, in particular, the Renewed Hope initiatives. While on a visit to the special advisor to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Bashir Lado, Akpabio acknowledged that the enhanced synergy between the two arms of government has been crucial in attaining goals across key sectors and prompt presidential assent to bills.
Since your assumption of duties, you have kept track of all the bills passed by the National Assembly. You have kept track of all the bills assented to by Mr. President, and you have also communicated same to us. Information communication is important. Today I must tell you that senators were very excited, though we don't clap in the Senate, but at least they nodded their heads in appreciation when I read out the number of bills in the last 2 weeks assented to by Mr. President.
The special advisor, in response, commended the National Assembly for expeditious consideration of landmark legislations and approval of presidential requests, urging that the tempo should be sustained for the benefit of Nigerians.
It is a testament to the power of unity, the strength of shared vision, and the boundless possibilities when leadership is anchored on the side.
Ahead of the commencement of the recall process against the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the People's Democratic Party Youth Alliance for Good Governance is urging the leadership of the National Assembly to impose sanctions on erring lawmakers to maintain the sanctity of the legislature. Addressing the media in Abuja, the national coordinator of the Youth Alliance, Ikemba Ikoku, explained that the continuous deadlock and political maneuvering in the National Assembly amount to a betrayal of democracy.
According to Order 5, Sub 1H of Senate Standing Rules, Orders as amended, which states, every senator shall ensure that his representation in the Senate is to the benefit of his constituents and not for personal aggrandizement. Across the world, democratic nations upheld strict accountability measures. Nigerians must do the same. Misconduct in the National Assembly delays critical legislation which represents constituents and damage national credibility. When senators violate rules or fail in their duties, they must face consequences.
The PDP Youth Alliance believe that lawmakers are elected to serve the people and not to engage in endless power struggles while critical national issues remain unaddressed. With about 200 bills pending in the National Assembly for the creation of new tertiary educational institutions, experts are acknowledging this move as a welcome initiative. They are, however, advocating for educational reforms that will ensure adequate provisions to sustain such institutions of higher learning as well as augmentation of the capacity of the existing ones. In this special report, National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide x-rays the sustainability of the proliferation of institutions of higher learning in Nigeria and interventions of stakeholders in the education sector in meeting up with global standards. His report.
Since its assumption of office in May 2023, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration, having favorably considered bills passed by the National Assembly, has established at least 12 tertiary institutions. They include 8 universities, 2 polytechnics, and 2 colleges of education. Nigerians from their various views acknowledge these initiatives as rational. However, educational reforms are being yearned for amidst myriads of challenges ranging from funding, inadequate budgetary allocations, increase in tuition fees, struggle in paying electricity bills, leaving the existing institutions to deal with.
During one of the public hearings, the National Universities Commission, NUC, and the other stakeholders are of the opinion that the institutions we have in Nigeria today are grossly inadequate compared to our population of about 250 million citizens.
Even some higher institutions, there are no seats for students in the lecture halls. That's in some public schools. We see that. And sometimes the lecturers, the teachers are not enough, where students sometimes will have to rely on, some other way of learning.
So we can reform the educational system, have an educational system in which the institutions are self-funded by themselves, they generate their own internal revenue, then with additional support from the government. In that case, they can be sustained. In some of these clients, as I'm talking about, tertiary institutions are owned by even local government. There are community colleges that are owned by local government. There are some that are owned by the states. Then there are thousands of privately owned tertiary education institutions. The same thing has held. So the truth of the matter is that every country must plan because of the growing population, because the country is growing on a daily basis.
Recently, in a ministerial press briefing, the Minister of Education decried almost 200 bills pending in the National Assembly for the creation of new universities. Concerns are growing that the system is becoming overwhelming, while some support the establishment of more to meet the increase in number of Nigerian youth population denied admission into tertiary institutions.
And we're not going to set up new school for them. That's not going to happen. We have the law, we have technical college, we have everything. We just have to find a way to accommodate some of this youth population. To that, NBC will take note. You are the secretariat for this.
Stakeholders, especially lawmakers footing more creation of tertiary institutions, are of the opinion that the most populated black nation in the universe is in urgent need for more tertiary institutions, as annual budgetary allocations have been augmented in line with best global standard.
The development levy, which was introduced in the tax reform bills, the Nigerian tax administration bills, is to the effect that 4% will be charged as development levy, 50% of which will be dedicated to TED Fund to continue to bridge infrastructure gap in teaching and learning and also in tertiary institutions. So this intervention will go a long way in improving and increasing interventions within the tertiary institution space, and this will also increase the admission quota given to beneficiary institutions. The tax reform bills also made recommendations for sunset clause to exit TED Fund from the intervention. But the House, the legislature, in intervening, have said no to the exclusion or the sunset clause, wherein we have said that you cannot give birth to a child and extinguish life, because TED Fund has become the life wire of all the tertiary institutions. So waking up to take off the intervention may make a mess of all the interventions we've made in the past.
It is the belief of the National Assembly that the executive will concur with this resolution as far as the sunset clause is concerned, thereby giving more power to TED Fund to oversee capital projects in Nigeria's federal institutions of higher learning. From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, NTA News.
Joining us now to speak more on the issue regarding sustainability of proliferation of bills for more tertiary institutions is Honorable Miriam Onoha, Chairman House Committee on Tertiary Institutions. Welcome to NTA Parliamentary News.
Yes.
With not less than 12 tertiary institutions established by the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration, is the executive not overwhelmed with more calls from the legislature?
Well, the numbers are growing by the day, and to so many, it could be said to be alarming. But do we really need that much? Yes. Nigeria's population is also growing at a geometrical progression. And if we don't have enough infrastructure and tertiary institutions to accommodate these growing numbers, then there'll be a problem. All of us can agree to the fact that not everyone who applies from JAMB to gain admission into tertiary institution is admitted because of the quota that is given to each tertiary institution, which is usually less than the applications they receive every year. So this gap and this increasing need for improved and increased facility to accommodate more applications becomes a problem. How do we fill this gap? We fill this gap by private member bills, executive bills, which helps us to create or make enabling laws and acts establishing federal institutions.
Considering myriads of challenges facing the education sector, especially the existing schools, how sustainable is the creation of more institutions?
Challenges that come with the times keep evolving, and as they come and solutions are provided, new problems and challenges also emerge. You are aware that the national budget takes care of most of these tertiary institutions. They are provided for in the national budget. But is it enough? No. And TED Fund is an interventionist agency with allocation to provide for infrastructure to bridge the gap in tertiary institutions, and also to improve teaching and learning within the tertiary institutions.
Thank you, Honorable Miriam Onoha, for your time. We now pause for some messages. The news continues shortly.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your short channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the Marketing Department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki Abuja, or call these numbers 080-383-40464 or 080-770-78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Thank you for staying with us. The persistent underrepresentation of women in Nigeria's governance and politics continues to stoke debate in the polity. Despite growing advocacy for women's participation in politics, the numbers in government, especially the legislature, tell a starkly different story. The Special Seats Bill proposes a vital solution allocating exclusive seats for women in Parliament to rectify this imbalance. In our next report, National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpen takes a look at the progress of the bill in Parliament.
Poor representation of women in governance and politics has been a long-standing issue. While the advocacy for women participation in politics is gathering momentum, many believe it is not translating to appreciable number of women in elective positions. This is evident in the number of female legislators in Nigeria's bicameral legislature, which currently stands at 19 female lawmakers out of a total of 469 lawmakers in both chambers of the National Assembly. Proponents of special seats for women in Parliament argue that it is expedient not only for fairness and inclusivity, but also for closing the gaping gender gaps in governance and politics.
At this point in our nation, the principles of fairness and inclusivity cannot be overemphasized. Globally, Nigeria lags behind in women representation in parliament, among the lowest countries who have implemented this affirmative action.
During the constitutional amendment voting in the 9th Assembly, the Special Seats Bill failed to scale through in the Senate and House of Representatives. Notably, the bill has been reintroduced in the current 10th Assembly and has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives, but not without some steaming debate.
In the Committee of Nations, when we talk about inclusivity, how are we going to be looked at? Women representation, representation for physically challenged persons are things that we need to look at and work outside the box to correct them. So I will plead urge us to support this bill.
As accepting this bill is against democratic principle and is undermining the fundamental human right of those ones that are popular in their own constituencies, Mr. Speaker. And if we continue doing so, we are also undermining the political parties. The political parties should decide whether women should contest in their own platform or not.
While it is a global trend to adopt some form of electoral quota system to address women underrepresentation in elective positions, leaders in the National Assembly are in the vanguard of advocacy for enacting enabling laws.
We give specific attention, particularly to the women committees, and ensuring that we don't leave one single woman representative without a key leadership position in the House, so that they can use their platform to actually advance the cause of women.
Through the spectacles of the men and the spectacles of the women, the lenses will see better. That is why we're here.
Please, I want to use this medium to cry out loud to our political parties. We need political party reforms.
It offers a unique and compelling way to spotlight the urgent need for greater female representation in leadership and decision-making processes.
The Special Seats Bill currently in Parliament proposes the creation of one additional legislative seat to be contested by women only for each state and the Federal Capital Territory, in the Senate and the House of Representatives, which would amount to a total of 74 special seats. Having scaled second reading, the Special Seats Bill is now before the Committee on Constitution Review for further legislative action, and many will be watching for its progression in the constitution alteration process. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
To ensure accountability, transparency, and effective resource allocation in Kebbi State, the House of Assembly has been scrutinizing the budget of the 21 local government areas of the state. This is not only in line with the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but serves as a guide for the spending and record-keeping of the activities of the local governments. Assembly correspondent Jafar Yusuf Ilo reports.
The budget defense is a crucial process in local government administration, where officials present and justify their proposed expenditures to the legislative body. In this case, the Kebbi State House of Assembly has been scrutinizing to ensure transparency, accountability, and effective allocation of resources, ultimately impacting the lives of citizens in all the local governments. Some of the local government chairmen who appeared before the House Joint Committee to defend their proposal have this to say.
Some observations was made, and we are going to make that observation and then make corrections immediately. We will bring it back to the House.
My priority area is just to consider the lives of our people in terms of projects that have direct bearing to the people. That's my priority, especially on the health sector, the agriculture and empowerment program.
Ensuring that government funds are spent accordingly to budget guidelines is a critical responsibility of lawmakers. As the committee interrogates the various bodies of the 21 local government areas of the state, they are hopeful that the process will check corruption and embrace check and balances.
Budget in any organization is a forecast of the revenue which will be accrued throughout the year, and also for the expenditure.
The financial memoranda guides the Assembly
in dealing with the local government council representatives in ensuring that the laid down rules and regulations are complied with.
Lawmakers are working closely with the executive arms of government to ensure that the budget implementation align with the approved budget framework. This collaborative approach helps prevent mismanagement of funds, promote good governance, and ultimately benefit the citizens. In Burikebi, Jafari Sobilo, NTA News.
The Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives has condemned the murder of 16 Nigerians in Edo State, describing it as barbaric. In a statement, the caucus says such brutal killings of innocent Nigerians in any part of the country by lawless mobs must not be allowed to fester without decisive actions by the federal government. It implores all Nigerians to eschew jungle attacks on their fellow citizens, but to utilize the services of lawful authorities to address security concerns. The Minority Caucus also urges the relevant tiers of government and security agencies to expedite investigations to apprehend the culprits and also ensure that adequate compensation is paid to the affected families. Similarly, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has lauded the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebolo, for his swift and decisive steps following the recent killing of travelers in Uromi, Edo State, on March 27, 2025. In a statement by the Executive Director, CISLAC, Awal Musa Rafsajani, the organization expressed strong support for Governor Okpebolo's response after the horrific incident. It notes that the governor not only visited the bereaved families in Kano State to offer his condolences, but also assured them of his commitment to justice. As a civil society organization dedicated to promoting good governance, rule of law, and the protection of human rights, CISLAC strongly supports the governor's action, especially the disbanding of unregulated vigilante groups that pose a serious threat to public safety and the rule of law. And that concludes parliamentary news at this time. You can follow this newscast and other programs on the platforms showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. I am Ene Ojanugba. Bye for now.